We want to make sure that there are no other victims. We want to make sure that they're cared for and that the crime is investigated and potentially elicit additional information, if any. Regardless, we want to remind citizens to always lock your doors and windows, even when you're at home. Make note of unfamiliar people or vehicles in your neighborhood. Do not provide personal information to people that you don't know. Do not post personal information on social media websites. If you have been a victim or you know anyone who has been a victim, call the Crime Stoppers at 245-6660. There were also some questions that were forwarded ahead of this, and I'll go down through this list. Some we've already answered. First one is how many assault incidents have occurred thus far. We've reported that. We've reported what our some of the commonalities are. Third question, do you have any additional suspect description? And the answer is no. We're looking for any and all information. That's why we're trying to see if there's any other victims that might have some more information for us. Fourth question, has there been any other reports similar to these outside of the West End? And the answer to that is not to our knowledge. Again, if there's additional victims that we don't know about, we'll encourage them to come forward. But to our knowledge, that area that I outlined, that's what we're looking at this point. Next question. Do the police believe that the press release issued by the Sheriff's Department about a missing pickup has any relation to the West End burglaries and these assaults? Initially, what we were looking at was trying to come up with any and all leads. If we have somebody that is committing a burglary, then it's probably not a far stretch they do a home invasion as well. So we're combining efforts on that. I will report that officers have located that pickup truck, identified the driver, identified the owner, and eliminated it as being involved in either the Sheriff's Department or our case. So that's no longer an issue. Why does the police department believe the burglary suspect is in connection with the MSUB assaults from earlier this year? If you remember, this first came to light with a report from MSU Billings, and the reason why that happened is that they are mandated by law to report crimes that occur on campus or to students. So when this was first reported, it was in conjunction with the police department. We had been working on investigations. It just so happened that I think 2 of the victims were MSUB students, and that's what that nexus was. We've been in consultation with them, but investigation had been going on prior and since then. But the impetus for that initial press release was a federal mandate on the college to release information about crimes involving students. And we were in cooperation on that information release. The question is, how do we obtain a description from the suspects? That is from the collective information that we have from the victims. Very vague, as you see, and not a lot of information to go on. So we're looking for anything that can help us out with that. When and where did the latest burglary, or I assume the home invasion, occur? That was on July 2nd. Where it took place, 24th Street West area. We want to, again, one of those details that we want to not divulge. Same thing about were there any major injuries? Out of respect for the to the victims, there were minor injuries, but nothing that we're going to elaborate on there. We're not going to elaborate on what was taken from any of the homes, if anything, and have these burglary assaults, as they call them, happen in homes occupied by women in their 20s. That's one of the commonalities that we're looking at, as mentioned. And why do we believe the burglaries are occurring only on the West End and east of 32nd Street West? I don't have an answer for that question. That's where they've happened so far. Those are the ones that we know about. So those, that's a prepared statement, and the information hopefully has answered the questions that you posed to Kevin. He forwarded on to me. And I'm sure there's going to be some follow-up questions, but I want to preface that with, we want to be as transparent and forthcoming as we can with information, but you have to understand we have a very sensitive investigation. We don't want to compromise that with giving out specific details on things, and we're balancing public safety information released so people know what's going on versus the integrity of the investigation.